What's up to my favorite bunch of beauties? Welcome back to Niecy W Beauty. My name is Denise or Niecy. If you are new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see and consider subscribing. If you are one of my long timers, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you. Today's video is going to be a ranking video of sorts. I am going to be ranking some of my most recent eyeshadow palettes, and take that with a grain of salt because recent mean anything I bought from May and before, because I didn't buy anything in June. So we are going to be ranking the eyeshadow palettes, the most recent eyeshadow palettes that I bought. So hold on, because I think there are a few more that I want to add. All right, so let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These I have not used. So I only have 8 that I want to talk about today. And I am going to sort of rank them from my least liked to my most liked. And yes, I am ready. All right, so the first palette that I want to talk about is the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. Absolutely love the color story, and for the most part I do like the mattes and the shimmers. I feel like what kind of got me down about this palette is some of her cream. I think, does she have like 2 of them? The cream to powder, and I feel like Fuchsia is a cream to powder, and the Calathea. So this green one here and this one, and you can see them on my hands. So, and you can see when I say I am not impressed, especially with Calathea. And I was told to use a dense brush, and I have not done that yet, but let me grab one. Alright, and I don't know if this is considered a dense brush, but this is the Sonia G Builder 3. And I am just going to put that into that cream to powder, and I'll brush it over top of what I had. I don't know. I feel like I just still feel like it should have more pigmentation than this. Maybe. Okay, so maybe it's true. But the shade just looks so much lighter. I mean, it does look like it does build very well, but the shade in the pan is not the same shade that comes out on my hand. And I think that is where my problem is that it didn't look the same. So I thought the pigmentation wasn't really coming out on it. So I am going to try it again, and I'm going to try it with a different brush, because I mean, that looks pretty thick, but it's still not the same color as the eyeshadow in the pan. And I felt like when I put it on my eye, I was like having a hard time building it up. And true enough, it could have been the brush that I used. So I am going to give this one another try. It's not like I can return it, like I've had it for way too long at this point. But I am going to give it a try, because for the most part, I do like Natasha Denona eyeshadows. So I don't feel like this palette should be so much different than the others. Alright, so the next palette I really, really wanted to like, because I really, really like this company. And this is the Lethal Cosmetics Wildflower palette. And it looks like this. I think that like the duochromes are really pretty, and I'm going to swatch some of them. But I think that it was a problem on the lid of me being able to build these eyeshadows up. Did I swatch that one? I do have a finger left. Let's see. I don't think I did. So these are sort of like the metallics. We'll swatch this one too. Yeah, they felt kind of sort of crumbly. And when I swatch them on my hand, they look really good. But there's a big difference between when you swatch it on your hand with a finger than when you swatch it, when you put it on your lid with a brush. I think I may have had a problem with this blue, like it felt dry. Yeah, I had a problem with that blue also. And it may be the same for like a navy blue as it is when you formulate a purple, and they are notoriously not good eyeshadows for whatever reason. But yeah, that kind of knocked this Lethal Cosmetics palette down to me, not to the very last, but it did knock it down for me. So that's not to say that some other Lethal Cosmetics palettes didn't rank a little higher. It's just that particular palette. So the next one that I am going to show you is from Odins Eye. So now just believe that from here on up, I really, really like these palettes, but you know how something has to go somewhere. So I had to put this somewhere, and this is the Solman 2, I think they call it, palette. And this palette had sold out so many times. And I finally was able to get my hands on it, and this is what the color story looks like. And I did use it, and I did enjoy it. And it is a really pretty palette. So, I mean, it's just a point of something had to go somewhere. I really don't, that shade was a disappointment. I don't know if that shade, Meteor, which is this sort of purple shade here, is like a topper, but it wasn't as pigmented as the other shades. I have not used all of the shades yet, but it looks like this shade, Mercury, which is this shade right here, is one that needs to be built up. But yeah, whatever. Now I expect this one to be fantastic, just because they generally are. Yeah, really creamy and fantastic. This type of shade right here never lets me down. But yeah, so the Solman 2 is, what would that make? 8, 7, number 6. Going from 8 to 1, so that's number 6. And the next one that I am going to show you is from Adept Cosmetics. And like I said, I really like the shadows, but it had to go somewhere. And because there are no mattes in here, this one had to go down to number 5. So this is the Seahorse palette, and I am going to swatch. I am really going to swatch the shade Tyro right in the center, because it has so many shades in it, and I haven't used this yet. It has so many different shades in it, and I want to see what it looks like. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's kind of disappointing. But I used the shade Giraffe, and it was gorgeous. And the shade Tiger Tail, and it was gorgeous. I think those are the only 2 that I have used, but I will be swatching. A lot of them I am finding though, when I'm putting them on, they kind of look alike. Like, what is this? Fig Me Thorny. We'll swatch that one. And then I'll swatch Jayakars. I don't know how to say that. I'm going to swatch that one right beside Fig Me. And those two just kind of look alike to me. Let's see. Let me swatch that one. And yeah, they look a heck of a lot alike. And then this one here and this one here looks alike. Yeah, so not to say that you won't get your use out of them. I want to swatch Narrowed Belly because this is a green. And that one looks like that. So right here. But yeah, very pretty palette. It is not a standalone palette, which kind of bumps it down to number 5. And the fact that some of the shades look alike. Alright, we will wipe our hands off again. And the next one that I want to talk about is going to be, hang on for a sec. The Nomad Cosmetics Okavango Safari palette, which looks like this. So this one is number 4. I have well, the only issue that I have with this palette is that the shade Leaping Leechweeze, which is what I used in my Monday morning makeup, and the shade Roaring Lions look like they may hard pan on you. I can still swatch them. And this is what they swatch like. They swatch very well. But if you look at like Roaring Lions, you can see like right in the center here where it looks like it kind of hard panned. And then Leaping Leechweeze, I feel like I was able to kind of rub that away. But I feel like you may still have a fear of some hard pan. And I'm going to swatch a few more. They have Keystone Termites, which is a good almost one and done. The shade Nile Crocodiles, this is one that's kind of spotted right here. And it has some green in it. So interested to see what that looks like. And I hope that one doesn't hard pan. And then I'm going to do Migrating Zebras, which is the sort of gray and white stripe. And that one just gives you a nice sort of pewter silver type of color. So that is what the shades look like. And I do like Nomad Cosmetics in general. And so far, performance-wise, I have no problem with this palette at all. I love the color story of the palette. I prefer this one over the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. I am just afraid that, I'm going to throw the box away, that a couple of these things may hard pan. So that's number 4. Number 3 and number 2 are also from Odins Eye. And it is the Rock and Stone palette, which I did put a look up on Instagram. This one makes me a little scared, but it is very soft. And one of my favorite types of colors. This green. Odins Eye, in general, I absolutely love their formulas. I love their color story. Ooh, this is gorgeous. I didn't use that one, but I will. And let me swatch one more. And this is the shade Splendid, which is like a black with like silvery micro glitters in it. But this is sort of the color story. This shade right here is a blue to green shift, but when I show it to you You can kind of see the blue here, and then when I turn my hand, it's green. So really pretty palette. Love Odins Eye formula. They have not let me down so far. I think I started with them with their Christmas palettes, and have been loving them ever since. So that's number 3. And number 2, also from Odins Eye, is the Jewels and Gems palette. And that is the color story of the Jewels and Gems. Right up my alley. Sort of cool toned palette. And I am going to swatch a few of those. And I've been just like swatching the shimmers. Let me swatch a matte or two, because their mattes are really good too. We'll do this like dark eggplant purple. It's called Intoxication. And let's swatch one more, and that's this sort of bluish gray, really creamy actually. And that is sort of the color story. Really pretty. I love Odins Eye. They come up with really, to me, unique color stories, and their formula is fantastic. So yeah, that one is number 2, ranks really, really high. And then I'm going to show you my favorite palette, and you're going to see why. And this one is also from Lethal Cosmetics, and the packaging looks familiar, but that is because this is one of the sort of DIY build your own type of palettes. And this is my build your own palette, and I did do a collab with Dion, and I'll put it up there somewhere in the cards, using our sort of DIY palettes with the shadows that we had alike. This palette I love. I can't tell you the names because they're on the back of the pans, but I'm just going to swatch a few of them for you. And super creamy, super pigmented. I think I just swatched over something that I just swatched. Let's swatch this one. One did come broken, but I was able to sort of mend it back together. And we'll swatch this one. And once again, I am swatching all of the, oh my gosh, this one right here, absolute favorite. Looking right burgundy when I do it that way, but it is a multi-chrome. It is gorgeous. Let me swatch a couple of the mattes because I like their matte formula also. This one is close to my skin tone. You will not be able to see. Let's try that one again. You can kind of see it, but not really, because it is close to my skin tone. And then we'll swatch you. And then we'll swatch. We'll put you right there. And these are the mattes. This one, like I said, is really close to my skin tone. So it is a good transition shade. My absolute favorite palette of all of the palettes that I have gotten recently. And it is because I made it myself. I picked it myself, let's say it like that. And because I do like Lethal Cosmetics formula. I don't know what went wrong with that Wildflower palette, because the Night Flower palette I like, but yes, my absolute favorite. I called myself trying to pick a palette that would be sort of neutral, which I think I did a really good job, but I was on like the rosy side of neutral. But really like that palette, and those are my rankings of my most recent eyeshadow palette purchases. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you are already subscribed, please make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I have a new video coming out. Have a great day, and don't let your day be a waste of makeup. Bye.